seduction. I should
Wait, what
get
the
up
fuck
my
do you mean
sleeves.
seduction? Have you started now?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just pulling up my sleeves, you know. Actually, that looks so much better, like the contrast. Look at the image. Like, it's so much better.
You're really trying to roll for seduction.
No, go
here.
back to the... Go back. Ooh.
Go back to
Go.
me.
Oof. Oof.
Oh, wait. I don't know.
You narcissist.
Oof.
I don't know
Look
if
at
this
that.
is good. Wait.
Look at that line.
I don't know,
Oof.
you can see my shadow on. behind me. I don't know if
Yo.
That's good.
No,
Is that okay? You can see my shadow behind me on the camera.
it's barely visible, though.
I know, but it's like a little bit. It's fine. It's not that I just want the light on me because if not, I'm pretty dark. No, but it's true because like
Yeah.
you have lighter skin and you're closer to that.
No,
so
there.
it's fine.
It's fixed.
It's
Oh,
fine.
now I got some edge light as well, so that's good.
Nice.
Yeah. Like, I don't have an edge light. I have a half light. Like,
You
this
have
is,
edge
this
light.
is my,
You
my
literally
Norwegian
have
side,
edge
my
light.
Swedish. Bro,
We're ready to start.
I'm taking a
We'll
joke.
do it smooth.
It has
I'm
already
joking.
started.
Oh, yeah, then we can have a smooth transition.
Transition.
Yeah, we all love to...
We all up to what now?
No, I'm not gonna elaborate on that. What I am gonna elaborate on is Savant Syndrome.
Yeah, I know. That's what we're going to talk about.
That's
Here
such
he
a
fucking
crap
goes
intro.
again.
So
Oh, yeah.
bad. But like, okay, so the general gist of it is that in some cases, after like an injury from a brain trauma, like people fall down some stairs, they get hit in the back of the head with like a baseball bat, and
Yeah,
they
on YouTube.
somehow seem to develop exceptional abilities. Like they suddenly can just calculate the day of the week that February 4th, 2048 will be. Like, or in like in just mathematics in general, they suddenly become a calculator, or they have insane memory, or like basically a savant, you know, a super genius, but it's specific to a certain topic or theme. That is sometimes, like very rarely, but enough that it's documented. It's sometimes seen in like injuries, but you also tend to find it in autism. Like it appears that in some cases of autism, that includes like a Savant Syndrome.
Oh, I think I know about, like, have you seen Mark Rober's? You know who Mark Rober is? Right?
Yeah, I know.
Like his son has autism, like, and he talked about like another kid with autism that he knew that could calculate the day of the week, like 10 years ago, or like just like what was February 3rd, 1948, and he just like looks around in a few seconds, like it was a Monday. It's like it's probably not a Monday, by the way.
No, probably not.
Well, like,
there's a
he
1 in
just
7
knew.
chance.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 7.
Have you seen the people that actually like, they're like, oh yeah, you can tell me what day it was if I just give you a random date, and they get it completely wrong. Like they're known for it, and then they just get it
yeah.
completely wrong.
Yeah, the fakers.
Yeah, so I feel like some of them, at least some of them, some people actually have that ability, because it's actually like this math trick.
Yeah.
There are certain dates, like waypoints kind of, that you will actually just memorize, and then there's some cool math thing.
I think
I
that's,
remember Number Files made something on that.
it's interesting though, because this is found in people after sudden brain trauma. Like, it's not like they get hit with a baseball bat and suddenly they just know the mathematical way of doing it. They just know it. It's like, it may also, it's probably a skill that can be learned, like as you explained, but there must be some sort of component that is
Like restructuring
Great.
of the brain. That just
Yeah. Actually, on that topic, I sent you a little clip out of a paragraph from a
Didn't
book.
read it.
Okay, you didn't read it. Wonderful. Basically, it's from The Master and His Emissary, I think, which by Ian I don't remember the exact name, but like a book about how the brain structure and a bit of that, its impact. But like, and the paragraph was interesting because it talked about the effect of brain trauma on, for example, IQ, and it showed that in general, mostly it was brain trauma to the right hemisphere that was correlated with a lowering of IQ.
Yeah, but isn't the right side is the logical side?
No,
it's not.
it's the left one. That's the interesting part. Well, okay, so
Okay,
it's a
wait.
bit of a misnomer to say it's like the logic and the creative side, but they have generally different capabilities. And I haven't read too much into this book, but it seems like the general thesis is that the left side acts more as the the soldier, you know, it's the hands-on kind of thinking, you know, that like
The conscious thinking.
yeah, like our consciousness is most likely based in the front of the left hemisphere, like at least the main part of it. Like there's obviously other stuff, but like the right hemisphere seems to be more the bigger picture, the strategy, the pattern thinker.
Okay. So so the right side is just like that's the automated part.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that
Why would the automated part have something to do with IQ?
because I fundamentally think IQ or intelligent, not fundamentally, I'm speaking as if like I know the truth, but like I think there's some credence to IQ being correlated with how thick your corpus callosum is. Okay,
Why'd you put so much emphasis into the thick?
Okay, but okay. So I think the corpus callosum, for those unaware, is the part that connects the two hemispheres. Basically, a superhighway. There's like just fat cells, like the myocybin or like
Fat cells, just like straight.
no.
up
I
fat
mean
cells.
like
Okay, it's
nerve
basically
fat cells.
like nerve cells.
Yeah, it's the connection between the left and the right prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, because I know about that, but I just didn't understand the fat cells, like specifically.
No, it's not
fat
that.
cells.
Like nerve cells, when you develop, like when your brain develops, they're like basically when you develop, they're coated with a type of fat that just makes signals travel a lot faster, and that's the thing he's talking about.
Yeah, the highway, and that's the biggest like transmitter of data. Well, the superhighway of the brain. And the interesting thing is that okay, so this is a bit distant, but you know Einstein, his brain was preserved. Some people like managed to get hands on his brains and like cut it open and experimented on it for like a few decades after his death. And I believe one of the things they found was that his corpus callosum, this highway between the left and the right, was much thicker than average. And you also have like people like Leonardo da Vinci quoted like, you must understand the science of art and the art of science. Like basically a very elegant and a very poetic way of saying the left and the right, you know, that.
Yeah, so he's basically saying you have to understand the abstract and the concrete.
Yes. And I think that it may be that IQ is the ability of the left, of the conscious side, to use and manipulate the resources of the right. If that makes sense?
Are you saying that intelligence is basically your brain's ability to manipulate the other side of the brain? Is that
Well,
No, I don't
manipulate
think
is the wrong
that's
word.
what it's saying. I think it's more like how good you are at applying your already recognized patterns. Because like IQ is weird. Like it's not
yeah,
just
you
how
got that right. IQ is just
no, it's
weird.
not that. It's like intelligence is weird. It's not just like how good you are at doing things. It's also how quickly you can do them. Like if you have
I do also think it's not just one thing, because like IQ is like it's supposed to measure like, because what we usually like connect with IQ is not what IQ actually is, because people usually just think about the logical thinking and the like pattern recognition, which is not IQ. It's also like with all the other subjects. So it's like, are you talking about like, because I think with like if you talk about Einstein at that time, you think about intelligence. We don't. Was Einstein like amazing at English or language? He wasn't exactly. He knew English though, if I'm not being a dumbass.
No, like there's a difference between IQ scores and like if you break down the score in like each individual like part of the test, you have like verbal communication and like math and logic. I don't know what the others are.
Visual, spatial. I
Visual,
think.
spatial. That like you can have very, very high in one of those, and it has a pretty high correlation with all the other ones. Like if you're high in one, it's more likely that you're better at everything else.
On that, isn't there also, I think I heard Peterson say something along the lines that the higher you go, like, okay, so from like the normal to like the medium kind of genius, you could say, like let's say 100 or like 140, like that seems true that one of them is correlated with the others. Like you have a general increase in all abilities, but like above that, you tend to have a specialization.
Yeah, then you have like only in one.
The
Yeah.
only thing I'm like, I was trying to like ask kind of is like, I think it's when you talk about IQ and intelligence, I think it's important to just clarify if you're talking about just basically what the media world correlates with IQ and what IQ actually is.
Okay, like most people when they talk about IQ just talk about math. Like that's what most
Exactly.
people talk about. It's just like how good are you at math and other purely logical and systematic stuff. Like that's not what IQ measures. IQ isn't even a measure for really logic at all. IQ scores are an estimation for what is called G factor, and that G factor stands for general intelligence factor. Like it's pretty hard to prove, but that's what it stands for. And so, and also IQ is one of the most researched fields in psychology. I don't think there is something more researched.
Personality, maybe?
I don't even think personality, because personality psychology is pretty new.
That's kind of.
I have a feeling that because ever
Must be
since
fun.
like basically just like the world got industrialized, people have been trying to measure who would be best to do this and that. So I would think so. Of course, I haven't researched this, but it sounds really like it sounds like it would be reasonable to assume that at least.
Like of course, like you want a way to separate people, and that's what school's for. Like when you're in school, you don't learn things that you're actually going to use. Like you don't take you don't take math if you're not going to be a physicist or like a high level engineer. You won't use math. You won't use more than like plus and minus and like and multiplication and division. You probably won't use that. Like, and the reason you have that is to like separate how good are you at learning math and like how good are you at learning English. That's the reason you have school. Like that's the reason you have different scores.
At the same time, I would also just say that what school helps you to do is like it also helps you to develop your skills, I'd say. Yeah, it might seem useless, but a lot of the things you'll do in your life will be tasks that seem useless. You just have to do them.
Yeah.
So I think that school like shouldn't get too much flack for being like, oh, it's useless what we're learning here. Because a lot of it with like, especially math, it is helping you develop your ability to use your own brain, I'd say.
Yeah. That's something my dad has said. Like the role of school, of like elementary, middle, and high school, is not to teach you stuff. It's to teach you how to teach yourself. Like teach you how to learn, basically. And that is useful in life. Like maybe math directly is not useful, but ability to teach yourself anything is really useful. And at least how it seems to me, the way school is structured is so you can get an affinity for learning in so many different subjects that you can just generalize it to learning like in total. And that can help you in life.
Mm-hmm. Like, I agree with that, but like I would say that school is a very complicated measure for competence, basically.
It's more a measure of discipline or like industriousness if we go under conscientiousness, personality.
Yeah, because like, okay, as you said, like, it's good that you touched upon this because I was going to, like, the two biggest predictors for grades and like how good your grades will be is IQ. IQ and industriousness.
Is it industriousness or conscientiousness?
Sorry,
in general?
conscientiousness.
Yeah.
Industriousness is the broken down. Conscientiousness and what's the other one? Disgust sensitivity. That's called orderliness.
Yeah.
Like, that's the two biggest predictors. IQ is number one, and then conscientiousness is number two. Like,
How close do you think they are?
I don't know. There is some measure about it.
I think honestly there might be a third. Like maybe these are the scientific predictors, but I think like let's maybe call it charisma or your ability to suck up to teachers, to make teachers like you is so important. Like that's what we have. That's what we have
I
exams.
gotta say, I think
Yeah,
that
yeah, but
school is
actually-
flawed in that sense.
Y-
That
yes, we would actually. I was going to talk about this as well because in Norway, boys usually get worse grades than girls from teachers, assigned from teachers. But on exams, the scores are basically identical, and that might be because, as you said, sucking up to teachers. That's the what's it called?
Agreeableness.
Agreeableness, yes, and that women generally have higher agreeableness, and that is more sought after by teachers because they don't have to deal with people talking in class and people like being quote unquote annoying.
I would also like, without any factual basis, say that on average women are more emotionally intelligent in that sense. Or like at least a lot of them are better at like dealing with others' emotions. It's like really just like this thin line. It depends what you look at.
I kind of agree, but I don't like. I'm not sure if this is something innate, like they're just better in general, or if it's the fact that we are still young and women finish maturing and developing
About 2
earlier
years
than
earlier.
boys.
1 to 2 years.
Isn't it like even like 25 years to 21 or something in some fields? Like I know
I don't know. I know that.
the physical at least. I think that's
Yeah,
the
I know
biggest
that,
difference.
Yeah, because girls start puberty like in general like from 1 to 2 years earlier, sometimes even 3 years earlier than boys. Like that, just on your brain development, as we talked about the the coding on your brain that makes it go faster.
Yeah.
No, they're actually like pretty far ahead, and that's also why like girls generally do better at school earlier because boys' brains aren't developed as much. And that's not even a debate. They it just isn't.
Yeah. Like we'll have to wait to get fully developed. And like,
I wonder why.
it's actually a good question.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I just pulled this up. So this, I don't actually remember what this was from. I should have actually checked my sources.
It was like, it seems proper. It
yeah.
seems fine.
Yeah, let's actually check this. As professionals, this is.
Yeah, common sense tells us that women
I
have better
don't-
social skills and are especially better at understanding others' emotions. Indeed, research has shown that women often score higher on emotional intelligence or empathy tests than men. Like, yeah, I don't doubt these results. 'cause,
No,
like,
me neither. You know the I think these are even studies that's from like Norwegian hospitals from Aarhus that about the interests. You know, if you take a baby, newborn with no socialization, that's the big one. Like there's nothing predetermined, like just born, like just a week. So you have no socialization. They are a blank slate, so to say. And you show them certain stuff. Like the
we learn
men
about
will
this in
look
psychology.
the men will look longer on
At mechanical
Yeah.
objects. Like if they had, the test was if you have a baby and you hold up a picture of a face and a picture of and something mechanical, the girls would look for longer at the face and the boys would look for longer at the mechanical.
and I think that's the important issue for this topic is that women look longer on the face, that there is something innate that in general women are more interested in
People.
Yeah. Which
Yeah, like in Norway, which is like rated as one of the most, if not the most egalitarian society, like we still have one of the most separated, like the biggest separation between men and women in the workplace. Like in some jobs, it's like 99 to 1.
Yeah.
Like in nursing, I think is it 1 to 20 or 1 to 10? It's something somewhere in
1 to
between that.
20 seems honestly more likely.
No, I checked this a while, like not too long ago. I think it's like somewhere between 1 and 10 and 1 and 20.
Mhm.
But it's like, it's huge.
Could I just jump in now and just
Yeah.
show the source that even though this seems like a link from some kind of phishing scam, it's
It's National Health.
ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. That looks sketchy as hell, but the National Institutes of Health. For what government? I have no idea,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna
it's
ask.
some government.
Wait, you still have your PCR. German.
Yeah, like I also noticed
Yeah,
that.
I do have it in German.
Like they're talking about Norway, but there's German on the screen. What is this witchcraft?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm like totally like a polyglot. I know like 100 languages.
Oh yeah, totally,
Yeah,
totally.
I know like
Totally.
100 of them. What's the record, like 48 or something? I
Yeah,
don't
it's
even-
super
Savant
genius.
Syndrome. That's what happened.
I'm just better. That's what I'm saying, guys.
Just a skill issue, Like
It's just a skill issue that you guys don't know 100 languages.
that's like half the world. There's like
but
200
that's
countries.
also something to kind of focus on. Why don't you know 100 languages? What's stopping you?
Interest and time.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't care enough.
isn't it? I think there's like some estimations by the European Language Bureau, whatever it's called, like that. It takes multiple hundreds of hours to learn a language properly. Like
Mhm.
even something like Spanish, which is like considerably close to Norwegian. Like
Mhm.
both are Indo-European languages, which means that they have a common source like 2,000, no, like 5,000 years ago, which is still kind of
What's the
the
source?
reason.
It's from because we have Norwegian comes from Germanic, but
Yeah.
and Spanish comes from Latin. But where do they come from?
both of them come from Proto-Indo-European, PIE.
Oh yeah, you told me about this before.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So in Europe, for example, you only have like, what is it, 3 countries
Isn't
that
it Finland?
that don't speak PIE or a language derived from PIE, and that's Finland, Hungary, and Estonia. You also have the Basques, but they're not
by
their
the
own
way,
country.
aren't those three countries like they have the same origin?
Yeah, the Finno-Ugric language or something. They come from the Ural Mountains, I think, somewhere along that line.
Yeah. So by the way, if you're wondering, like us Norwegians, we can understand Danish sometimes.
If they speak slowly and remove the potato.
Some of
Yeah.
them we can understand.
yeah, and we can just us Norwegians, we can just read Danish. It's
Perfectly.
perfectly, and we can understand Swedish perfectly well. But if you think we can understand Finnish, no, it's not similar.
Like we can understand German and English easier than Finnish. Like if you were to show any Scandinavian, honestly, or any Germanic person a sentence from another Germanic language, they would probably be able to pick out at least one word that
Yeah.
they know.
Yeah, and if they read a text, they
There,
would
there
probably
is
get out some of the
actually
gist.
a constructed sentence.
Oh, I
that-
know which one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
it's like in
The
5
soup?
different languages. Yeah, it's go mountain soup. There's a
Yeah.
snowstorm coming. Whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually, I think
love how we
6 or
both know it.
7 languages.
Yeah.
You can perfectly understand all of them because they all have like the same Germanic roots. But any other words, it's kind of
Yeah.
it's a bit more difficult because like another thing is that
Krankenhaus.
oh, for example, well that just because it's like a popular almost like meme-ish thing that people know it.
I know, but if you know what, because isn't that a composite word? Like you
Yeah,
have house,
krank and like krank is
sick.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same as in Norwegian. We have it's a composite.
Sykehus.
Syk.
Yeah,
and hus,
I
like
guess.
sick house.
Sick house, yeah. I gotta go to the sick house, man.
Like-
Okay, what was I even fucking saying? I forgot. Are we allowed to swear? I didn't think about
You
that.
were talking about the way like 7 different languages
Yeah.
can all have the same
Oh
sentence.
yeah, I was gonna say something about like the reason we can also understand like English is that recently in modern times with like globalizing and all of that, we take in a lot of English words, but at the same time, because of the Vikings, English has a lot of Scandinavian words.
Egg and stool. and husband as well. Husband comes from the
Husbonde?
comes from Norwegian husbonde.
What? Oh, I never, I
could
never
you
thought
explain
about
that in English? What that means?
house farmer.
Kind of. It's
That's what
yeah.
it sounds like.
It's more like the
Lord
ma-
of the house.
Yeah, it's the man of the house.
Man of the house.
But they don't have hustru.
No, they have wife.
Yeah.
which is-
Vife.
yeah,
I-
that's Norwegian.
I don't
Yeah,
think we
and
have
roots.
like researched this enough because have we actually prepared anything?
Not really.
No, but that's the charm of this. This is just us friends talking and trying to stay semi-serious. Not completely serious, but semi-serious.
And also, that's the reason it's just us instead of some of the other people.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have to try and convince them to be actually serious for like an hour.
That is really hard for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
I think that kind of comes from some of them having like free time and just because some of them obviously care a lot about like school and like work. I think some of them might use all the jokes as a bit of an outlet to just be able to calm down a little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to
Maybe.
wind up from school.
But that's exactly why we have the therapist couch coming soon.
You'll know it when you see it, you know?
It's
I'm-
over
For
there.
now, it stays silent.
I can't
Hidden.
spoil anything about it. Just know that it's going to be amazing.
If they start joking, they're just gonna have to like point and go later.
Yeah, yeah.
Take a
We
time
don't
out.
want you on the main cast. You just go in the corner because we're going to have it in the corner
Like,
because
for
we
real.
have space.
They aren't the main cast. We are the main cast. You know,
Yeah.
we're the main characters of this.
Which is why we should act like they're therapists, even
Yeah.
though we have no licenses.
like that's to be fair though, that is kind of what I'm seeking to
I
be
just-
educated as.
I really hope we
Me too,
get a
actually.
politician
Oh, you
on this
decided
at some point.
between
Kind of.
I think you know. Oh, I almost said his name. You know our friend, our maybe monarchist.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
He would be interesting.
Him.
Oh.
He is considering trying to actually go for real in the youth party.
Really?
Yeah, like to actually, like I kind of talked to him, and
Mhm.
it may be a potential that either through him we could get politicians from that party, Høyre, the
Right.
center right, or the moderate right wing, or conservative right. Although I
They're
don't
not-
really like the word conservative.
No, there's not really any conservative parties in Norway that are anywhere near power to
Yeah.
get anything.
And really, the word conservative is so Americanized
Yeah.
because, like,
Yeah, we really just think a lot about Americans nowadays when we say conservative, just because we're so influenced by American media and stuff.
they are the dominant superpower. So obviously, everything they do drips down onto us. But it's annoying.
And
Like,
there's also a reason why, like you can hear when we speak right now, we kind of like at least go for a bit of like a typical American accent.
That's probably because it's easier for us to
Yeah, kind of.
like. It's more of a relaxed way of speaking instead of like the
Mhm.
British.
But the reason we think it's relaxed is just because of how we have perceived it through media, though.
Probably.
I mean, that's also coming from the person that I used to speak with like a heavy British accent, but I actively try to stay away from it because no one takes you seriously. I have
As they
English
should.
family; those are the only people who took me seriously.
But
No
like-
one else.
That's kind of interesting, though. Why are some accents not taken seriously?
Have you
Like,
seen their teeth?
Because
that?
that's
You know?
kind of why. Well, the thing is also is just that. Let's just say Americans have a certain grudge against British people.
On that, though, actually, who else has a grudge against British people? The French.
Where are you going with this?
Indians, South Africans,
actually, yeah.
probably
Everyone
a
has
lot
it.
of like the northern African countries,
Doesn't also Denmark?
Americans,
Denmark also has a grudge because
probably
the British.
France. Yeah, you
yeah, the
guys
British
mentioned France.
burned down the Danish fleets.
When?
Like I think it was right before or during the Napoleonic War. Like Denmark, Norway was
I
allied
thought,
with France.
okay. I thought it was this is something recent.
Oh no! They didn't like. Oh, just last week the British just came and burned down the Danish fleet. No, this is old, but like people hold grudges for a long time.
French people.
Are they the biggest grudge holders? Not
I
the
don't know.
Polish.
To be fair, it's pretty like obvious that the English
I don't
hold grudges against as well, because like we are influenced by the English people now, like English and Americans.
Yeah.
What's the when you think about France, other than you, what do you think? What do you think when you think France?
Baguettes.
Other than like something like James May, one of the first thing that comes to mind is raging homosexual, baguettes, Hitler, some stupid.
No, because he invaded
Why?
invaded France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Paris, you know.
You remember? Yeah.
Who was in Paris?
Like I remember your image
Yeah.
paying a huge tribute.
If you guys are wondering, like I was in Paris. There's a really famous picture of Hitler.
We can't say his name, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we can. It's far
Well,
enough in.
We're gonna say it either way.
Yeah. He was standing. I don't know the name. He was standing, leaning.
Arc de Triomphe, the Triumph Arc.
No. And he's leaning back, and there's the Eiffel Tower in the background. I went to the exact same spot, took the picture, and I posted it on Instagram.
Do you guys think I'll get in
It's funny.
trouble for that stupid joke?
No.
No, I think he's gonna get in trouble more.
Probably.
You'd be surprised at like the things people get upset by.
Yeah, I know, it's so.
No, it's funny because I have French friends. I think one of them is a homosexual, and everyone just makes fun of him.
Is that,
Even in Norway.
is that related to him being a gay or a
Or
gay?
him being a gay, or him
Is
being
that
French.
related to him being gay or being French? Because I would honestly discriminate more against the French than gays.
Well, the thing is, I don't.
Or stubborn. At
It's
least.
just
Don't want to learn English.
no.
Most of
Okay, so I gotta be clear about that. It's just that I think he described himself as a raging homosexual, which is why we refer to him as a French raging homosexual. It's really stupid. It's really stupid. We're gonna get cancelled immediately.
No.
But
Don't worry.
okay, what was I gonna? Giraffes.
No.
No, we do not talk about that. No,
Speaking
no,
about
no,
giraffes.
no.
90%. I feel like that has kind of like the same energy saying 70 liters.
No, it's 53 liters.
Have you done more math?
Yes. It's a password of mine.
Oh,
53 liters bath.
53 liters.
Can I tell why?
Can you tell? Like,
Yeah,
remember the
sure.
camera's
If
rolling.
anything bad happens to this podcast,
Okay,
I have
fine.
to manage it. So
Okay,
you know
no, it's
what?
not that.
Fine.
well, it's
Okay.
our reputation.
Okay,
no?
so basically, in class one day, we just like, who asked the question?
Well, we can't say the names.
No, but like, okay, I think it was me because I asked like, how many times do you think like the average man ejaculates throughout his lifetime? Because I knew the answer. You know, because
Why did you know the answer?
don't ask.
Yes, I will ask.
No, not important. Anyways, and then we like fooled around, and then it was like, how much is that? And then we just like searched up, and it's like, yeah, the average man will ejaculate like 53 liters in his lifetime. Completely unrelated.
Well, it's related to French people.
Are
know,
you
like-
not? Are you not going to elaborate?
Wow.
Now you gotta explain, why is that related to French people?
Why is that related to French people?
Yeah.
I don't wanna
Why
talk
is
about
that? Why is that?
Ah.
You know, and she knows.
This turned it into like a really nerdy frat party
Cut that out.
really quickly.
No, we're not cutting that
No.
out. That's gonna stay.
If that's being cut out, me making a stupid joke about French people has to be cut out.
No. Okay, fine. Leave it in.
We gotta insult the French, at least in some way. But like, that's the thing though. Maybe I'm heretical in saying this, but I think it's a friendly insult, you know? Like,
Because we don't hate the French. It's okay.
It's a friendly hate.
It's the thing we talked about before this podcast started. Like, I can call you horrendous shit because you know it's not true, and I know you, and I know that you can handle it when I call you shit. I can call you the ugliest motherfucker I know. No, like
Oh,
you
I actually have
won't.
tears.
No, and it won't
Start
affect you
crying.
because first of all, I wouldn't have said it if it was true, and you implicitly know that. So it's just fun to say it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit different when you're just like talking about an entire like nationality, but still, like, because they don't know you personally.
Yeah.
But
Like,
still.
we do the same with Sweden, you know. Well, you do the same. I have to protect my blood, obviously. But like,
But be honest, who likes Sweden? They're just
IKEA.
there.
we like. Everyone likes to dunk on them, and I think
They
that's
like the
good.
cheap alcohol we can
Yeah.
buy.
We need a nation to dunk on, and like in Scandinavia, that's Sweden. In Europe, it's France. In the world, it's America.
True.
Sweden is only there so Norwegian people can get cheap candy
And alcohol.
and alcohol. That's more related to you though.
No, but like actually, people that live close to the border just actually drive across the border, buy whatever they want, and drive back because it's cheaper. And they, of course, buy a lot. They buy in bulk, but
I think
people
there's some
actually do that.
restrictions to that too.
Yeah, there are actually some laws on how much you can carry. I remember.
Is it a price or is it like a price cap, or is it just
that
alcohol?
depends on what it is.
Actually, though, I learned this recently, and I at least know that one of the big stores, I think a lot of like maybe the majority, but at least some of the big stores at the border are owned by Norwegians. It's not even a Swedish business.
Is it
It's
like-
Norwegians selling to desperate Norwegians for cheaper prices, but the quantity is so much more that they earn big bank. Like they are only surpassed in like Norwegian wealth by like the Salmon Barons. Like even like that title is kind of funny, but it's also used as an insult by a lot of the not even extreme left, just the left side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Which it's a
Well,
cool name. I would take that
The
title.
thing
Baron?
is,
Yeah, Baron.
isn't the reason for that because in Norway we're not a part of the EU, but we have some
Part of Schengen.
some economic deals. Is the reason for that because Sweden does not need to pay a 25% damn import toll that makes it so damn expensive to buy anything?
It's that, and let's just say that Sweden is maybe a bit more capitalistic, and Norway is kind of heavy on protectionism. Well, not kind of heavy. We have some protectionist policies, which I could defend them to a certain extent, like the need to have national and like local industries, like that would be useful to have in like any case. Let's imagine like the border with Sweden is blocked and we can't import their cheap food. Like obviously it's good to have, but a lot of people are annoyed, probably me included, although I haven't grocery shopped that much. I still live at home, you know. But some of those policies do make it difficult for foreign companies to sell stuff here. Like even in addition to that 25% tax you talked about, Myth, like in addition to that, if like a Spanish salami thing is going to sell, it also has to have like extra fees because we have our own local salami that has priority. It's like that's why like Norwegian stuff is just so much cheaper. It's not really that the Norwegian stuff is cheaper, it's just that the foreign stuff is more expensive by design.
Taxed. Yeah.
To be fair, though, that's kinda understandable as well. And when you look at like with COVID and stuff, when some countries like stop exports and imports, that really hurts some countries like being reliant on other countries for food because we're going to drive them out of business if we get these cheap ass whatever the hell kind of food from other countries. Because we have like local farmers and stuff. They cannot compete with that.
Yeah, that like Norwegian soil is just sadly, well, it's not that profitable or profitable. It's not that fertile. And even the areas that are fertile is basically just the region around the capital and not much more. And a lot of the fertile areas in that area are occupied by cities. It's like and Sweden has like so much more.
Oh.
Yeah, we just have hydropower and oil.
Well, the thing is about like Norway is that the east is basically where most of the food production is.
Not fish.
On land.
Yeah, on land. Like, we were talking about like fields and stuff, like fertile land. So that I was like, oh yeah, that's obvious. Fish is far up north. But the thing is, a big reason is just that it's too damn cold. There's not enough sun up north. So
Depends what you mean by enough sun. If you go
and also it's that the area is quite rocky. Like you don't have the open plains.
Yeah.
And like Trondheim, you don't have them there. Like you can't grow food.
Halfway up, by the way.
Yeah, like we have much more north.
It's kind of funny because like for
just for reference, the south of Norway, if you go as far south as you can go north from the south of Norway, you would reach down to Rome.
Yeah. Like the length of Norway is like from Oslo to Rome. So a long country.
Very long.
And that's also kind of a detriment. Like
Yeah.
we're not as united as we could be. Like if you look at
There's a reason like our country has like it's one of the countries with the most airports per person in the world.
Well, it's
Because we can't.
It's
really
also
drive.
why we have so many funny dialects that
Oh,
are
yeah.
impossible to understand.
Yeah, that was after the Black Death.
Yeah.
the roads were just disconnected, and we didn't have the people in the economy to
It's
connect
also
the mountain
generally
places.
just difficult without cars. Even with cars, the long winding rides like up and down the mountain, it gets like exhausting even just from like an air quality like or air pressure point of view.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you all even stuff like the ferries, which it seems logical that it would be easier
Mm-hmm.
because water, you use the water, but like even that is very cumbersome. Like I think like most of Norway's economy and wealth is centered basically in the south. It's like and most of that again is like the southeast, and then like one city on the West Bergen, and then you have like Trondheim, and everything
Yeah.
else is like
Well, like
the largest city
like
in
a
Norway is like
good
600,000 people. No,
700,000 now, but like due to people who work there for days but don't live there, like you have an average 1 million every day,
And
a
that's
million in the city.
biggest city.
But like it's
Small.
it is very small.
Like Norway's bigger than Poland as in like an area, but we have like I don't know how many people. I think it's like
Poland?
40 million people in Poland.
Yeah.
And Norway has 5.
Yeah.
Almost 6.
Like an even better example is Norway and the Philippines. Like just purely square area, they're almost identical. But then population, Norway 5, Philippines 100 million.
Holy
And it's
shit.
basically the same square area, which goes to show that, like, I think there's some statistics that of the entirety of Norway, only 2% of the land is arable. And arable doesn't just mean places we can grow. It also means places where it's easy to build cities, and thus the places where historically cities have been built. If you just look at Sweden, it's like, it's just rolling hills, like all the way in forests. So like, obviously it's a bit difficult to cut down all the forests, but that's easier than cutting down a mountain. It's like,
cutting down one
yeah, like you can't do that.
casually.
Well, the Romans did. There's a place in Spain, I believe, that used to be a Roman silver mine or gold mine, a mine at least, and it's gone. The whole mountain is just ground down
does
because
kinda
the Romans mined it for like centuries.
It
It's like
does
a
kind of seem
mountain.
like it would also be like either for rock or gravel, or if it's like some type of
Sandstone.
yeah, it could be sandstone, but also
Limestone, maybe.
god, like volcanic whatever the hell that's called again, basalt, whatever that they used to make their concrete.
Yeah,
That it could also be that, because you see that like in almost all countries, you see like mountains are just slowly, progressively made smaller and smaller because they use it for gravel.
Yeah.
That's a very like useful resource just for like roads to making concrete and whatever the hell.
You probably wouldn't see that in Norway.
No.
Because like
You can. There are 2 sites that
Oh, there
I
are?
know of, like nearby. We're not gonna like dox ourselves.
Oh
but
yeah,
it's,
I think I know what you mean.
yeah,
The one we
it's
never
been cleaned
visited.
up now. There was like a mountain, a forest. Now it's just flat in like to the still existing mountain. But
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
it's got, you don't notice it. And also, we have like a big mine not too far away. We just don't notice it. I've driven past it once.
yeah, isn't it like kind of remote?
It's relatively. There's like an old racing track or something there now.
Oh, it's there. Okay, yeah, I've driven past it.
That's kind of the thing with like Norway and maybe Scandinavia in general, but like, we have an aversion to using the natural resources for some reason. Like the Swedes, they haven't really opened a new mine in like decades, even though they have so much material and
Have you
minerals
seen
underneath.
It wasn't like a new thing that was basically discovered in Sweden that
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's a new site for rare earth metals.
But I don't think they're gonna mine that because
I think they will.
you think that with the new government, maybe actually.
Yeah, with the new government and the EU's with the EU wanting to separate themselves from the dependency on Chinese rare earth, because
Yeah.
China produces like, is it like 90% of rare
Something
earth
like
metals?
that. Yeah.
They want to separate themselves to not be dependent on, like, quote unquote, the enemy. Like,
Not even quote unquote. Like,
Yeah.
I think it would be fair to just say
I-
the enemy.
At this
in
point,
the same way that, like, when was it? I don't remember the date or the year. It was not too long ago. Germany was really dependent on gas because they like did the huge switch to wind power, but that's when Russia, like, they made themselves basically completely dependent on Russia.
and they
That was a stupid move.
abandoned their own nuclear reactors
Yeah.
so they could instead use cheap Russian gas. And
Well, to be fair, like
Norway
Germany
made a lot
didn't.
of money on
The,
that.
the German government didn't want to abandon the
No.
nuclear power.
well,
It
the
was
Greens did.
Yeah, but like it was the people. You can very much
Yeah.
say it was the people, and I don't
Yeah.
blame them because I used to be terrified of that stuff before I learned more about it.
Yeah, like, no, but that's strange because, like, in France are ramping up.
Isn't it 70% of their entire
Yeah.
energy is from nuclear?
Yeah, it's insane. And they're neighboring countries. Like, one's just actively like, no, we cannot do this. We don't want it. Like,
Don't they
never.
even have nuclear reactors in Alsace-Lorraine? Or Alsace... Well, yeah, Alsace-Lorraine is the French name. But I think they even have nuclear reactors in the bordering province to Germany. Which is kind of funny. Like, Germany, oh, it's so scary, we have to abandon it. And then the French is building one right on the border. Like,
Yeah, but, like,
based.
It's stigmatized because of, like, Chernobyl and Fukushima and all that. But, like,
Mhm.
what happened in Fukushima? That was an earthquake.
Yeah.
What
Also
happened in
the one
Chernobyl?
America,
That
though.
is what happened in America. Like, nuclear meltdown.
God, no, I don't remember it on the spot. I don't. Was it something island? I think there was. You know what? I'll actually search that up while you guys
Yeah.
talk.
It's like, and the
so
thing with
I can-
Chernobyl is that it, as far as I know, I haven't seen the series now. I'm kidding. I haven't researched into this, but I think Chernobyl, it was a case of being too damn old and then some human mismanagement.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff we have now, like, yes, it's scary. Yes, it has risks. But wouldn't it also then be logical to think that the creators of these also know of the risks and they focus on these risks? Like,
Isn't, like, nuclear, like, per watt hour, like, per kilowatt hour generated? Isn't nuclear, like, the least deadly? Like, per unit of energy, nuclear in total with the accidents have killed less people than solar, wind, coal, all that.
like if you just look at coal and oil power plants, like, they have a very good kill to death ratio just from like
Good.
just from causing cancer
Yeah.
in people around. And like, yeah, the nuclear power has done that with radiation too, but not to the same extent. And like with solar and wind, that is just natural forces and they are inherently kind of dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It's like manipulation of natural forces. It has a lot of potential gain, but it's also kind of risky, you know? Like,
Mhm.
it sounds dangerous and it is dangerous to just close off up an entire lake
Mhm.
and then try to release it gradually. Like, what if some structural element breaks and you just flood the whole damn valley? Like, that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you remember China? What happened
Yellow
in
River?
China? You remember? Yeah,
Oh.
that
They
was
did
a
it on
huge
purpose, though.
disaster.
They
You-
didn't
The gigantic ass dam.
in World War II. They
Yeah, no, but I'm not talking about
Oh, okay, okay.
the skipper bombs, whatever the hell.
Oh, you're talking about the dam that makes the Earth spin slower or something?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
so much water that when it accumulated, it changed the rotation of the Earth, and then when it was let back down, it presumably
a little bit.
actually kind of went back again, got quicker. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's massively
Have
slow.
you seen, like, the power plants, like the list of power plants? The biggest power plant is a hydro plant in China. It's like the one where they like submerge an entire city. It's gigantic. It's like the total of the second, third, and fourth.
What is it with China building massive stuff? Like, this is not even recent, like the Great Wall of China. This is something old. Like, why do they build massive stuff? And like, obviously, you have other
Overreacting.
societies that also build massive stuff.
Pyramids.
Yeah, and why did they make like the railroad system, whatever the hell, that did not go well in the housing market and all of that. But also, they're boasting about 5G the entire country, 5G. It's only like active for a few hours per day because not enough people use it. But yeah, also I did find it was 3 Mile Island, so I remember that correctly. And yeah, it's kind of ish similar to like what happened in Fukushima, something with like coolant, I think. Yeah, partial core meltdown though instead, and no explosion, I think. But yeah, see, $1 billion as well. Estimated that the TMI accident cost a total of $2.4 billion in property damages.
That is a lot.
But this has been covered up so well, though, because not many people think about
I've
this.
never heard about it.
Yeah, exactly. But but the thing is as well, like it wasn't as bad. 1 billion cleanup, but still it wasn't as bad. At least I think so. They might have just been really good with their propaganda. But as far
Probably
as
a
I
bigger
know-
cleanup from 9/11. Like, to put it into perspective, that's probably like to make it relevant to Americans.
Holy shit! They have nuclear reactor accidents in the U.S.
They have a long list.
Why have I never heard about that?
Well, also it's L.A. Cross boiling water reactor deconstruction leak into Mississippi River. Oh God! Heavy steam leak into the turbine of building D.C. Cook nuclear station. So these are actually like could be pretty severe. And we just haven't heard about these.
It kind of reminds me or makes me think of the Ohio where the train derailed with all the chemicals.
yeah.
Stuff. Like we have already forgotten that. Like that's just out of
It
the
was
public view.
awful.
Didn't
we
that
don't think
leak
about
into
it.
like the groundwater?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
Yeah, they were advised to not drink any water because I think whatever the hell toxic this and that did actually get into the environment and killed many like animals from what I remember of news articles, and they were advised to not drink any water that comes from nature or like the tap, whatever the hell.
And
Drink
we don't
bottled
talk about
water.
that.
We don't talk about it.
Why?
It was never mentioned in like school, for example,
Yeah.
which is stupid.
Like that's, I am kind of worried because I've seen this as a trend, like in my personal life, like anecdotally, that so many big stuff, events just aren't talked about. Like for example, all the stuff with China now, they're like they're stealing fucking islands from the Philippines, and that's not talked about. Like
They're stealing whole ass islands.
Yeah.
That's a fucking Gru stealing the moon kind of
yeah,
shit.
it just it's a super villain thing to do. Like you can't like Xi Jinping. Sorry, man, but like.
Sorry,
You
man.
aren't Megamind. You can't. You don't have the super villain energy.
Megamind.
Like I know you're trying. Like because only supervillains steal islands.
You know that we're going to be on the top of his hit list now because you said that.
Oh yeah, like
You're not that guy, pal.
you know,
You're not like that now. We go way back. We don't.
he proved his willingness now
But-
to
but
make people
look at
disappear.
That derailment. That's not like a mild derailment
So
either.
maybe should we be worried?
That's
yeah.
not just one car falling over. That's a whole like
A whole train.
A whole train what happened? Like, yeah, of course it derailed. Yeah, no shit. But I don't actually remember.
Honestly, though, from the pictures I've seen or the explanations or like the personal experience of this, it only makes me think of the area in France where the Western Front was during World War One. Like you still have mines, still have gas canisters. Like there's just whole areas that these are going to be locked up for like 1,000 more years because like you find like tens of thousands of rounds and explosives every single year in just that area in Belgium and France. And this is what it makes me think of. It's like something to this scale being covered up is ludicrous.
Yeah, like you could also put it in the perspective. It's just one train.
Yeah, no.
I know it's a lot, but it's like it's not like a war type thing.
No,
it's not gonna be
it's
locked up
true.
for 1,000 years. And also, it's on train tracks that it needs to be cleaned up because other trains need to pass through.
Yeah.
One of the main things it was carrying was vinyl chloride. Fucking hell, I'm stupid. Which is it's a flammable gas that has sweet odor and is a carcinogenic. So yeah, yeah,
that's not
super-
good. That's
That's not that good.
that means cancer causing, right?
Yeah.
For the
Yes.
viewers that don't know.
that. Yeah, I guess that is a pretty nice way to summarize it.
Yeah, like there's no reason to talk about the chemical stuff because honestly, we don't have the experience to do that. And
Talk about the chemicals.
well,
I have
of course, yeah.
a bit of like formal education with
Yeah.
that, but of course I shouldn't be talking out of my ass, so I should actually research things before I start talking about it, even if I do know the formulas and causation.
But like cancer causing, released and cleaned up,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah, it bonded with like water and some stuff, and like whatever. It's bad. That's kind of what you should get out of it. It's bad. It was really bad.
and we have forgotten.
It's kind of like how people also kind of forget about like the Ukraine conflict, because
Mm.
like that can really affect us.
Like we have seen the effect. Like for example, the inflation we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the main reason inflation is high is a combination of Biden's policies and Ukraine. Like Biden's inflation just print more money. Like for America, that's
Is
kind of
Biden
fine.
one of those politicians?
Well, for the student loan debt, he did kind of print like, I think if you look at every single dollar in circulation, like 80% of them are printed in the last 5 years, which does include some Trumps. Like
Yeah.
Trump bad. Give us points. Trump bad. But I think
It's funny though.
yeah. I
Are you
think
just trying to win over your friends who are gonna watch this so they don't get mad at you?
Who knows? But like the crux of it is that you increase the amount of money to a specific group, but not its general values. Like the value of their money goes down, or of their total wealth goes down for everyone, not in that specific group. It's like that's what happened with Rome, where they would debase, basically print more coins and give them to soldiers. So for the soldiers, they stayed at their level of wealth or even rose. But for everyone else, they didn't get that extra money. But since the amount of money in circulation increased, their relative value or wealth went down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what one reason I think of what we're seeing now is that America's printing spree is affecting the rest of the world. And of course, you could probably argue that the main cause is the war, and that makes sense.
Well, to be fair, like ever since America like derooted their currency in gold, because I think there was like some kind of law-ish thing
Yeah,
that you were allowed to like
yeah, every dollar
you
dollar had to be like, it was worth some amount of gold.
yeah, and you
Originally.
had the right to go and then make that transaction to turn it into gold, and that way it's kind of like what makes cryptocurrencies bad, because many of them they don't back it up with real
Anything.
what was the fucking smart word to use? Like just like real value.
Yeah.
So that means it can just be inflated to hell. And the thing is, because we are forced to deal oil, which is one of the like most lucrative businesses, I guess, just everything oil, we are forced because of America to trade in dollars. And that means the more they print money, the more it inflates our currencies as well.
Yeah,
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, the Norwegian kroner is pretty tightly knit to the American dollar.
The oil industry.
Well,
like-
to be fair,
like-
all currencies were allowed. Like the American dollar is
The
What's-
euro isn't
the standard
as-
backing. No, but the thing is, I think even the euro is kind of backed by the dollar because dollar is the default trading currency. Like the pound, the British pound was before, imperialism. They won everything. Like they won the game of life. It's like the whole world was based on their currency. So every trade could be backed and transacted.
Isn't China trying to like switch it?
Yeah, China.
Yeah,
well,
I
China's
was
trying to
gonna
be
talk-
supervillain.
I was going to talk about that because I think Saudi Arabia was trying to like push to not have to trade in dollars because
It's unfair.
it's
basically
not
a
fair for
tax.
anyone.
It's a tribute to
It
America.
is a bit of a tax, yeah.
Which is kind of funny, which a lot of Europeans probably us in the past included, say that, oh, Europe is free, you know, we're a free country. But in a way, aren't we subjects to America? Like, we're paying tribute to them through our connection to the dollar and oil, and they are, their military is our protection.
Basically, but that's not really something. That's NATO.
Well, yeah, but NATO is kind of major. Like, just like the EU is in its essence, at least in its origin, is a French project of continued peace in Europe.
Yeah.
That they connected themselves to Germany in such a way that forever peace. Just like that is a fundamentally French project, even though Germany is currently the biggest part of that in the EU, it's a French project. And the NATO is, at least seems to me, fundamentally an American project. It's their sphere of military influence.
But they don't gain too much from it right now.
No, not necessarily, but
Not
they
right
have
now.
all
That's
of
why
Europe
Trump wanted out,
and
wasn't
Japan.
Yeah.
They have a lot of potential stored up.
Yeah.
They just need to kick. We just need a kick to mobilize. Like, if you can mobilize, if America can get Europe to fully mobilize, like NATO though, to fully mobilize to, let's say, 4%, which is something the Norwegian military is trying to go for now.
4% of the population?
4% of the GDP.
Oh, yeah, because...
we have under 2%.
I know, like, that was one of the like criteria in NATO.
Yeah.
It was like the countries that are in NATO need to either spend at least 2% of their natural yearly GDP, or give that money that they didn't spend to the US to spend for them.
Yeah.
But basically, no country is doing that, and America is mad. Trump made some like outcry about that.
Yeah.
Like, pay your goddamn bills.
Like, that is a general trend that we see after the fall of Soviet Union, like the Cold War. Like, a lot of people, I like this Lieutenant General. I listened to a few days ago. I was at a military briefing on the Norwegian Defense Report or something, and one of the people there, one was the politician who. She was decent, not like I won't say anymore. She wasn't that good, but she was decent. But the other guy, former general or lieutenant general, he talked about how basically the world had gained this idea of perpetual peace. It's like, you have heard the term the long peace, right?
Yeah.
And that's basically just after World War II until present. Like,
Is this
there's
called the
no
long peace?
war between the G7 or the big 7 or 8 nations. And we haven't seen such a peace since the Pax Romana, since the Roman Empire.
Yeah, well,
Let me continue though.
Sorry.
And like that was the long peace. He defined something new, the deep peace, because he believed, like, during the long peace and during the Cold War, there was still this sense of there's a possibility of war. He said that after the Soviets fell, people gained this sense of completion. History is done. War is over. We have finished it for good. Like, the final struggle is finished, and the deep peace was entrenched. And you see it in like all militaries, maybe possibly except America. They all started to demobilize. Like, Norway went from having 110,000 actives duties to like 12,000 currently, which is tragic. We ordered, or was it 52 fighter jets? We can't even man them. We don't have enough pilots for 52 fighter jets. Which, like...
That's almost embarrassing.
Yeah, it is embarrassing.
The kind of scary thing about that, though, is that some countries' like solution to that is just lowering the criteria to become a fighter jet pilot.
Oh God, that's horrible.
Yeah. Have you? Oh God, this is a bad reference, but have you seen the video like after the Taliban like took Afghanistan again? I think it was, and they got some like American like Black Hawks or something.
Oh, no.
And you see this video of this Taliban person who has no formal training, I think, tried to fly it, and
did it crash?
Let's just say it looked like a carnival ride. And I don't think he is. I don't think he has consumed any oxygen since, to say it like that.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I think that's positive discrimination. Okay, wait. I don't mean him dying.
Okay, wow.
I mean like this. Having criteria is just a good idea for like something like the military. Like if you are lacking in pilots, you could remove the criteria for having perfect vision. But I really like that discrimination. I love discrimination.
Wait.
Don't clip that. I love discrimination in the sense that it's positive.
That's totally being clipped.
And also, like, we don't mean discrimination in like the bad sense, like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm discriminating against you because I don't like you. It's not that type of. It's more like you don't fit the criteria, therefore you can't. It's more that. It's like you discriminate all the time.
Oh, you got a video?
We are not showing it that far, actually.
Okay.
So
It wouldn't be on
okay.
YouTube.
So this is from like I don't know who these people are, but it's some type of new stuff.
It wouldn't
thing.
be on YouTube if they showed it.
You'd
But
be
they could show
surprised.
explosions.
You'd be surprised. You know the Lebanon thing that was all over YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's just that these people didn't. I don't remember if I think the video catches it crashing. I don't think. Why would you just suddenly stop recording? But
Yeah.
that's not what we're like
So we're
talking
not
about.
going to
just-
show that video. I
We'll see
we
it, so
showed
watch it
that,
yourself.
but we're not going to show
Yeah,
the
we're
entirety
gonna-
of it. It doesn't really matter. It's just, it's not the focus. I was just going to show it to say there is a reason we have criteria for things, and especially with like, okay, as harsh as it sounds, for a military, some of the aircrafts
Okay.
are more valuable than you are.
No, but actually, like they cost so
They
much
cost
money.
a lot, especially like the America's like new generation fighter jets,
Like
with all the
F-35?
AR, yeah, the
Like-
AR stuff and shit. That's so expensive. The helmet itself is like $100,000 or something.
Yeah, like they're so expensive that it's easier to get a new pilot than it is to get a new plane.
Yeah. Well, some okay. So with some planes, they do like I think with like Ukraine, I think that their pilots are more value. I don't remember. It might have been this in some conflicts, and with some planes, the pilots are more valued because it's hard to train them, and some of them are insanely valuable because they have a lot of training and are really skilled. But with like, for example, World War II, if you have the dumbass like propeller planes, you're not gonna be too valued when some of them are relatively easy to train you pilots. For.
Yeah.
You know the Red Baron, he wasn't even that good.
Oh, controversial. You're gonna anger all the
No, as
German
in like
Germophiles.
the reports and stuff and accounts say that he just kind of hung in the back, and then it was just like kind of he surprised them because they didn't expect that, I guess. But I cannot quote it directly, but something about he kind of hung back, and then they came in and killed them.
No.
I don't think he stole kills. I don't remember that. But I
Kills.
love how they were like, yeah, this French pilot or something, I don't remember, took him down. No, some infantry soldier shot him, but that would be too anticlimactic for the Red Baron.
Honestly, though, an infantryman shooting down a plane is such a cool story.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It went up like, up through like his back and then out, something like that or something. So that's how we know it wasn't a plane, because that was like, or at least the theories and stuff go. But from what I saw, the research they did, that I cannot quote because this was ages ago, the Red Baron, this like mystical, dangerous, scary guy, was shot down by a little infantryman just going, oh, I don't like that, and then
Honestly, though, that's probably something that's likely to happen. Yeah, like, Ukraine, they have a few fighter aces.
Mhm.
Like, the ace, that's what they're called. Like the cream of the crop, the best fighter aces. How many of those do you think are going to get shut down by the end of this war? And how many do you think are going to get shut down by ground stuff? Because I don't think... Okay, maybe this is controversial. I'm not sure if the air will keep as much relevance as it has before. Like, obviously, it's really important, but I would probably think that the air theaters has an overinflated importance in the modern world.
Maybe, at least in the term of like fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, I have no idea about this. Like, I'm just comparing this to have you seen there's a video of like why tanks are becoming irrelevant.
I haven't seen the video, but I've seen
It's basically just
for that.
People can carry now, people like infantry can carry anti-tank weapons that there's nothing that can stop it.
Mm-hmm.
So tanks are becoming irrelevant in that sense. Like, there's no use to use them. Like, there's no need, because you're wasting more money on that instead of you could have used that money on training or other weapons.
There is a thing though that
like, also keep in mind that the only reason Ukraine is still standing is because they got support. Like, the javelins are expensive.
Yeah, I know.
They are expensive. So to
Like,
a
can you
certain
pull up the
point,
video of the javelins? Like,
oh yeah, they're scary.
it's insane.
Continue talking.
Yeah. No, but it's like, this is like probably.
I'm
shoot a
making
missile.
sure it's a test fire. It's whatever.
They shoot missiles and they just fly up. You shoot it in the general direction. They fly up, find it by themselves, and then hit it.
Okay, let us
It's
know
insane.
They're on it. Let us know when you're ready to fire.
It's like,
They're on it.
like
Okay, let us know when you're ready to fire.
bulky weapons like that.
Fire.
With like shields, energy shields. No, I don't think that. But like, do you think tanks will adapt?
No.
I don't think they can, but I just realized we're probably e-raping with the audio, so that we. Oh God.
Wait, were we?
Oh, maybe I forgot the mixers and controlling the audio for that. Oopsies.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. I'll fix it.
Yeah,
I'll
and
fix
if
it,
not, I'm sorry to your ears there, listeners, but your ears are occupied by my voice now.
Ears are occupied by my voice.
My beautiful, buttery and choppy voice.
With
Shows
the
you it's
Norwegian
not.
accent, that's pretty distinguished.
Pretty bad, but I don't think we can talk like this the whole podcast. That would ruin the whole vibe.
Oh. Ugh. God.
Kind of true though. Have you seen like it's kind of the former prime minister Jens Stoltenberg. He's the current secretary general. I think that's the title. At least the leader of NATO, and he has a bad accent. But there are some theories that he does it on
From
purpose.
your dad, just like point.
I don't think
pointed
this
that
was
out?
my dad. Maybe it was. I'm not sure. But I'm saying this not to say this is true, but just to bring out some interesting ideas that he has this bad accent on purpose to show that he is not perfect. Basically, like
I feel like that's kind of like the art.
He doesn't have
like
to put on the
art
accent to show he's not
people.
perfect.
I feel like that's kind of the art people
maybe.
that just look at a banana and go, it shows the curvature of the whole society and how nothing can be perfect.
it wouldn't be the
Curvature of
first
society.
time. It wouldn't be the first time leaders used language to prove a point. Like Putin, he knows
Ich bin ein
like
Berliner.
German and he knows pretty good English. He doesn't use them. I think the last time he used like English in public was like the Olympics in like when was that? A long time ago.
He doesn't want to like get down to our level kind of
Yeah.
thing. He does it like as like
And Jens Stoltenberg
Try-
is opposite. He wants to get down on our level. He thinks every other leader is imbeciles, and he no. Sorry for actually another theory about him that's funny is that you know the guy who wrote this book about Nord Stream and how it was an operation by American Norwegian forces. He has also written about like Jens Stoltenberg being a spy during the Vietnam War. He was like 10 or 16, like teenage ninja. That's what Jens Stoltenberg was, according to that theory. It's like a teenage ninja that's so arrogant he thinks every other leader is imbeciles.
I still can't wrap my head around how he would be like a spy.
Yeah, me neither. Like, what sane individual would think that? Like, his whole presence, his way of being in history is kind of a perfect public individual.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just do a quick audio test? Just
Yeah.
silent.
Oh, we can hear it. Yeah,
That
it's fine.
that might be a bit too loud. So
Might be a bit,
oh,
but it's fine.
Yeah, it
Just
was a
turn it
bit-
Yeah,
down.
no, the thing is, the way the recording's set up, this beautiful little piece of technology isn't actually recording the audio, so it's our first production with this setup. Be
Sorry.
gentle.
Forgive us, please.
Sorry.
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 You did just do that. Oh god, that's 100% going to become like an emo or something.
No.
I'm making a GIF of that, and I'm
No.
making a sound clip.
No.
Are we gonna do the intro sound, by the way?
What is the intro sound?
Nah, okay. Stop it.
You just said
Carry on
something
with the
Norwegian.
conversation. This is stupid.
But that's exactly the conversation. The conversation is stupid.
Yes.
Actually, what I heard something interesting. I don't remember who said it. I think it was a politician guy or something, that if Jens Stoltenberg were to come back to Labour Party,
Mhm.
they would win. They would win the next election in 2025. Do you think?
Maybe. I don't think so.
No? Why not?
I don't think so. Because in general, I don't think people are mad at, like, in Norway. By the way, the left has been ruling for 8 years now. No,
No.
4.
4. Well, like 4 in the locals. They won the majority of counties, you could say, in the
Mhm.
locals 4 years ago. And they've ruled, and they
4.
currently have the term for the nationals. But before that, we had 8 years of the right.
Yeah, 8 years of right.
But
Like,
to be fair.
also, just to clarify, there's never been more than 8 years consecutively of right or left. There's always been a switch.
Has
After,
it?
yeah,
even the period where the
checked.
Labour Party was like on the top.
I checked. There's
Okay.
never been more than
Okay.
8 years.
Yeah.
Norway.
Oh, actually, on that, the Labour Party, it has, I think it's called like the eagle among the parties, because it has been the biggest party for 99 years. And
Yeah.
it's lost that title this year.
Yeah,
like-
it lost a lot. Like, it's gone from, it's almost the third biggest now.
Yeah. Which is,
It's just made second.
Yeah.
Like, right, whoops.
Don't hit
Right.
the microphones.
Right now, in the county election, basically, right, the party right, or Høyre, got the most, and then Labour Party got second most. But they were like, how many percent? It was like 0.5%. It was really, really
Yeah.
close.
and like the thing with the Labour Party is that they, before, let's say the current government and COVID and the Ukraine collapse and whatever, their popularity crashed. Before that, they had like 36%.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, you have Labour prime ministers like saying, if this party ever goes below like 39 or 49, I'll quit. Like
Mhm.
it consistently for like decades was like above 30, even 40 sometimes. Not sure about the 40, but at least 30, consistently above 30. And then now it's just collapsed way
Is
down.
it below 30?
Huh?
Is it below 30?
Isn't it 24? At least in...
I have no idea.
No, actually, Meth, this might be interesting to look at election results for local elections.
Election results.
If you search just NRK
NRK.
elections.
Yeah, like, I think the party like Høyre and Fremskrittspartiet, which is a party that's to the right of Høyre. It's not that far. It's more like if Høyre is conservative, kind of,
Conservative right, then
and FRP is liberal. Right?
honestly, I think progressive right.
Yes, progressive.
Yeah, because that's literally the name. Fremskritt, progress, the Progress Party. That's their whole name. But again, this is America
this
ruining
what you're
everything
after?
because
No, that's 2021.
yeah, that's
Oh,
the
shit.
Nationals.
No,
Oh,
that's
shit.
2021.
Yeah, Nationals.
Oh yeah, national. 2 years ago.
We're just looking at the screen, by the way. But I think what was I going to say?
There.
Oh yeah, FRP. They are progressives, and America's ruined that. It doesn't mean left wing. It just means
Damn,
Progress.
this dark mod looks so dirty. Look at that background color.
Like now in the county elections, like Høyre got almost 26, which is they're up almost 6%, which is insane.
Yeah.
And Labour Party's down a lot, and Progressive Right up a lot. Like if things continue as they do right now, they might only need like one more party
I think
to get
Yeah.
over 50%.
currently for a majority they would just need the right, the progressive right, and the social liberals, Venstre.
Yeah.
That's all they would need. Also something interesting. I think we're gaining a new party. Like, of
Oh.
course, you have some parties that have just been the mainstream party for so long, and then you have the like really tiny ones. I think we're gaining a new mainstream industry or the party IMP down there, the industry party, which is basically focus on industry and economy.
Næringspartiet, industry and kind of like
Aren't they just
food.
like hardcore capitalists?
Kind of. They're capitalist with some morals.
Capitalism with some
but
morals.
the leader there didn't answer my email. I sent him an email.
Wait.
But like 2 years ago, I when the Nationals, I was thinking about which parties sound interesting, and like I read through all of the different party plans, and I had some questions for INP. For the industry party, and he didn't answer. Even though
So young little you.
No,
2 years
I'm gonna
younger you.
cancel him now. We're gonna use this
Cancel him.
podcast to punish that guy for not answering my email.
It sounds like you're like so heartbroken about someone not returning your
He didn't
calls.
answer my email. Like, please.
Well, like, yeah, that party is probably gaining prominence because Norwegian economy has kind of been going
Yeah.
downhill a little bit.
Also, the climate debacle, because they, as far as I see, they do believe in climate change. They do think it's important, but they value economy over, and their main focus is that a lot of the other parties, they have sacrificed the economy and industry for climate.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the main parts of why the Labour Party is losing a lot. And also, no, social left actually gained.
Woke left is how I usually explain
Yeah.
it. Although,
So
maybe
it's called
sense,
technically
but-
called socialist left party. I think also the reason like that gained is because people went from the Labour Party and they either went right or they went left because they wanted something more, let's call it extreme.
Yeah.
Than to just
from their current
from
position.
their current position. But yeah, as you said, they like keep sacrificing industry and economic growth, even though economic growth is kind of stigmatized.
Yeah.
Just saying the growth part. And you also have like the Greens in Norway. There's only one place they rule, and it's in Oslo,
The
the
capital.
biggest city, the capital. Only. I say it's basically spoiled rich kids that don't have to drive. No, but actually, like in the capital, you don't need to own a car.
Yeah.
You don't need to own a car to get around because the public transport is good enough. You just don't need a car. And you can walk to the store. You can take the suburbs if you need, or you can take the tram, and it's fine. As you can see, they lost a lot as well. They lost 2.6%, and that's like 1/3 of their entire vote.
Can you check what the results for Oslo in particular were? I think it was
Yeah,
just if you
sure.
scroll up, you can find search a bit up,
No, up.
up there. You can
so
the search bar
Moose.
up at the top
That's
there.
top.
Ah.
You can search for specific
What's that?
regions. Oh yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. As you can see, that the Greens lost a lot.
5.1.
There was a time where the Greens were leading in Oslo.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
I mean, I would like understand that, especially like winter time with all the gases, all the nice little NOx gases. As in, I'm not gonna get into that. It's gonna be too much chemistry to explain. Certain gases that aren't too good for you.
No.
And
Yeah.
when it's cold, a certain type of like almost air blanket forms.
Yeah, they accumulate down
Yeah.
and they just stay in the city, which is
Mhm.
not good. When
I
breathing.
had a whole exam about this actually, but yeah, I'm not gonna get into that.
Interesting to note though is that whilst Rødt has fallen, that
red,
red,
the most
yeah,
extreme left party. in Norway.
they still have like what is it, 5%, which is kind of insane. 5% of the capital.
Which
And
one
the
are you talking about?
Red, Rødt.
Oh, yeah, red. 5.8.
Basically, communists. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
not complete communists. We do have NKP, the Norwegian Communist Party, which is
we
actual
do
communists.
have communists.
they actually did get like 0.2% in some areas of Norway. But like these are like the semi-commies.
Mhm.
And it's kind of interesting.
They had revolution.
Where are they? I don't remember what.
Yeah.
What was the abbreviation for them?
For the hardline communists,
Yeah, for the
NKP.
communists.
NKP. I don't think they.
Shit. Sorry.
I think Stavanger. They had something in Stavanger. So if you search up, maybe.
Oh no, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
NKP. Norway's
0.1%.
Communist Party 0.1.
Yeah.
Luckily.
The exact same.
Which it's good that they're low. I'll be honest. But
What's the FP that lost like 5.3%?
up at the top of the screen?
Top.
FP. Oh, Folkesparti. I'm
The
not sure who
People's
they are.
Party.
Oh, isn't that it's a right-leaning party, isn't it?
Well, a lot of these minor ones are right-leaning because there's a general sentiment that the left is in the establishment. So the minors are generally right-wing.
Yeah, probably. And
I
the
know
Miners, are you sure?
that. Well, no, that's actually opposite. of true.
Nowadays,
Like,
yeah, and nowadays they're left.
Mhm.
Although I think there's a revolution coming. Oh,
A
I should not
revolution.
use that term in this
A
conversation.
revolution
No,
is a
do
bit
not
extreme.
call it revolution.
I think
What do you mean, like the pendulum?
yeah, the pendulum
swing, yeah.
swings. I think
Yeah.
that's likely because you had shall we say, the boomer generations. They rebelled against their right-wing dads,
Mhm.
basically. Like I don't think it would be that wrong or that bad to call them generations, the silent generation and like the
Mhm.
greatest generation, to call them right-wing in general.
No,
Uh,
probably not.
and like the boomers, they rejected against that hard. Like the
Mhm.
whole cultural revolution, not Mao's one, not Mao's cultural revolution, but the whole like hippie culture, the whole music, rock,
Yeah, but
everything.
but also remember they were after the war.
Yeah.
Which is also like a big factor because like the war had just been won,
Mm.
and that's like it was peaceful. Like they keep hearing stories about like, oh, this was war, and they're just like, I seen a war.
Yeah.
And then they
There is this interesting thing though that why for some reason in the 60s when the boomers started getting adults, that suddenly a lot of the institutions in America become more and more left-wing. And have you heard this quote? I don't remember the exact quote, but there's something along the line that the Russian foreign operation, to succeed in spreading communism, it must work from the education up, and that Russia's main method of victory is by converting America from the inside. Which I don't think it's that important or had that much of an effect. I think it's more just a general trend of like the Frankfurt School and their ideas moving to like America. And well, again, the boomers kind of rejecting against the older generations, which were quite traditional, and tradition at that point meant Christian, basically.
Yeah, but isn't Gen X like right leaning again?
Gen Z, you mean?
Gen X
Oh.
after boomers.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not sure.
Millennials.
I just know that from statistics, every generation starts on the left side of the spectrum and slowly moves right. And
That might be.
but the millennials
that might be something
is-
different.
I
Like,
think,
no,
yeah.
no, it's not that. But like, when you're young, you don't have money.
Yeah.
Like, when you're out of school, you're broke.
Yeah.
No, but
Well,
like actually, and when you
true.
get older, you've usually accumulated wealth,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I want lower taxes because that's better for me. That's a reason I can see that.
Yeah.
People move right.
The interesting thing is, I got this from like not the EU, but like some channel that focuses on the EU and Britain. But like, it was that millennials don't follow this trend. For some reason, millennials, that generation has become more left wing as they grow older, whilst every single other generation has become more right wing.
I definitely think that the correlation between media and just like the internet, I definitely think that has some say in that, especially with like not only just spreading opinions, but probably what people get taught.
Yeah, because like it's a lot easier to like end up in echo chambers. So like if you
Yeah.
We probably are one.
yeah, we probably are like, especially like in
which-
a friend group. Our friend group is a little bit different because we have people from every part of the political spectrum, basically.
Yeah, we have
But we do
people
have
that
a right wing lean at Helt.
Yeah, but
well,
we have
that depends though, because you got it like on an international scale, no.
True.
Like on a national scale, yeah. So when because this is not just like a national podcast, I think it's important because what's right and left for us is very different from, I don't know, the Czech Republic or America.
probably.
In America, if I were to say I'm right wing, and I'm not even that right wing, I don't think I would label myself as
I
any
think in
political
America
spectrum.
you'd be left wing as hell.
Yeah,
honestly.
like I would. I do support the welfare state. There may be better solutions, but I don't see them. It's like I would support the welfare state. I would support.
We're trying to get the least broken system.
So kind of what you're saying is that until that better system is found, I'm sticking with this.
Yeah.
Indeed.
No, but that isn't that sensible? Like,
that
Okay,
is sensible.
like
though,
okay,
'cause-
every single system that we've had up through history seems to be broken somehow,
Mhm.
and we like to think that the system we have now is less broken. Like, why would we try and switch out the system we have now in a direction which might be worse? That's the conservative, like, part of, like, talk.
At the same time, we do need to have a functioning nation to even implement a new system. Having a system and no nation doesn't really help.
Mm.
So if you implement it in a bad way before you actually know what's best, and it's a whole paradox, because how do you know what's best? Yeah, well, try it. Well, what happens if you try it and it's not the best? Then you collapse and you cannot try the other options.
You let other peoples do it. Like,
Yeah.
Why try communism yourself? Just let the Soviets try it. Let the Chinese
let
try it.
Russia
The
do it.
system
Cubans.
collapses, you try
Let
it again.
Russia
and you try
do
it.
it.
And it's not your fault because it was real.
Let Russia do it and then slowly, gradually make it kind of softer, and let's just see what part of the spectrum was the best.
That's like what happened with like left-leaning, like modern left-leaning policies. Like you had Russia and China. China isn't really left-leaning anymore. It's
Not
like
economically.
No,
They're
it-
still kind of communist in
They're-
their cultural policies, and
kind of like they're
but
more.
not economy.
Yeah, they're more. Yeah, they're just really totalitarian.
Yeah.
No, but like in Russia, you had like the hardcore revolutionists, which they died. No, but like most of them died, like 20 million, maybe 50. We don't know.
Or,
Like somewhere in between, like
who are you including in those deaths?
uh, just the Soviet in general,
Mhm.
entirety of Soviet, including like the to be Ukraine, like the 6 million.
A lot of those would be kulaks, though.
I know.
Which to the others, that productive people. Like,
Yeah.
of course, there's a better definition, but like people who had a cow, for example. Like
They weren't. They were farmers that didn't die at the time. They managed to survive.
Yeah.
Like just to be like a decent farmer that could survive, that meant that you were successful, and that meant that
You're evil.
technically, because if you were successful, that meant that you had somehow oppressed someone else, and that meant that you were evil.
Yeah.
Even though I don't-
Based on the presumption that everyone is equal at birth, and thus any deviation later in life means, and in addition to the idea of a zero-sum game, that
Yeah.
means that any deviation later in life
Mhm.
is that someone stole from another person.
like in Russia, there's a debate how many people died, like at least 20 million. Like,
Yeah.
and there's very little debate that there's less than 20 million from what I understand. So that system doesn't work.
Yeah.
We can pretty much say that 20 million deaths. That's enough. We know that that system doesn't work. That's without like counting like for Pol Pot or other.
Although, to be fair, though, we could probably, if we try, count up to 20 million deaths due to capitalism.
Yeah, probably.
But that is also outweighed by a lot of other successes it has.
It's also much harder to actually estimate a death count with an ideology that doesn't really directly kill people, to say that in the nicest of ways.
Yeah,
Like,
like the way if you would say like capitalism kills people, it would be saying like capitalism brings forth child labor, for example, or horrible working conditions in third world countries. But yeah, that was there before. You could say like, oh yeah, but because of capitalism, that's why they do it more, and then more people die. That's a real argument.
Yeah.
But I doubt that anyone in the right mind in the Western world would say that's a good thing, that there's child labor and they're working in horrible conditions. Sorry, it's not our fault. No, but like
Yeah.
it's more like saying, I want this, I want to buy this, and then you see it on the market and it's like, okay, how did it get here? Well, I don't really care that much. Like, no, but like most people don't care. Where was your battery? Where was the raw materials for your battery made?
Yeah, and
Like,
then
where was it dug out? It was probably dug out in South America. Like most of those were either probably dug out in South America or in Africa, and contaminating the earth like in miles and miles radius around the mines. We don't care. No, but like we don't. Maybe we should.
Yeah.
It's a harsh way of saying it, but we don't. We still buy our phones. We still make electronics. But is it, like putting as a real question, is it our fault and or responsibility that they live in horrible working conditions?
It would definitely be up to us, because us consumers can hurt a company the most by not buying their products. But at the same time, it's just like there's no direct connection to it. And with like, for example, with Apple now, which is honestly some of the most evil motherfuckers, they are,
Make good phones.
they set a goal, I think it was 2025, to be carbon neutral.
Mhm.
It's literally a sales pitch with some of their newer models that there's a net zero carbon emission, whatever the hell.
Don't they just move the carbon emissions to somewhere else?
Like, exactly, when they say such things, not exactly do we not know exactly what they mean. We can also not verify it. Because what do they do? How do we know how much they've sold? I guess that's actually something that
We could know.
investors find out and all of that, like legally. Unless they want to hide that, because it would be very reasonable for them to want to hide that for the gain of money. But also, it's like really hard for us to know where the raw materials are from. Because like, just search up lithium mine, copper mine.
Like if you search up a lithium mine, you will probably end up in South America. And
Yeah,
like,
but the thing is as well, you cannot know exactly which one. You just know, oh, there are some. For example, if you
Mhm.
just Norway, for example, I think it was some like at the bottom of the ocean something, we might have
Yeah.
found some nice materials. If we start mining that, it doesn't mean that every battery is now from that source.
No, exactly. But that's my point. Is like, is it our responsibility to, like, when we don't have a direct link, we have an indirect link to them. Is it our responsibility to aid them and to reduce their suffering?
I think it's our responsibility to like affect it and discourage it. But that's something we are to some extent doing. Maybe not enough, but it's kind of like it feels so indirect to us. It feels like it's such like a big thing, because like the impression people get, like especially with like Greta Thunberg and stuff, is that
Greta Thunberg.
yeah, whatever. I don't care. To make a difference, you have to dedicate your life to it. Is what I think a lot of people like get the impression of like the green side because of like certain political activists that aren't doing the smartest things, NDG and all of that.
The Greens, by the way.
In Norway. But like that's the problem. Like it's so far away that we don't like. It's hard to say, but we don't care because it's not us.
I think that's probably the main way that activism did work. Maybe it still does. I'm not that involved in activism, so I'm not sure. But to make the main mode of operation is to make something personal, because as you said, people don't care if they only indirectly affect it or it only indirectly affects them. But the main thing activism does is remove that indirectness. You make it direct. Like, you are the cause of this suffering. It's your nation in the past that did this and this, blah, 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 colonization. You have a duty to fix this. And to some extent, we kind of need those people that can advocate for that.
I don't really know if I like your example. Like, your people did something bad in the past.
But that's the example that a lot of people use.
Yeah, but I don't buy that example because it's like, if my grandfather did something bad, should I have to pay because he did something bad? Like,
I think it's
no.
a bit of a silly argument, because people say you've got to change, and at the same time, if you have changed, you still get blamed for what your ancestors did.
Yeah.
So even if you did a good thing, like let's say a whole family line, they love slave labor, and then you are the person that fixes that, you're still going to be harassed and called like, you're going to be, unless you become a historical figure, everyone's going to hate you for having connections with that, even though you might have been the person who fixed that, which it's just so backwards.
Honestly, look at United Kingdom and Britain.
I was
Like,
going to bring that up.
Yeah, it's not
'cause, like,
even a personal level, but just they are blamed and talked about so much for their slavery
Certain
problems.
doings.
But
they
then people
were
also,
basically it was basically the first country in history. I know some history nerds going to bring up like, oh, they did it in Greece as well, and like in Athens. No, it didn't work for long.
like a systematic purging of
slavery.
But the impressive thing is not that they banned it in their own nation. Like Catholicism had already done that in Europe. Basically, like slavery was kind of gone. Of course, you still had serfs, which is maybe not that much of an upgrade, but like slavery was kind of gone thanks to
It wasn't really a
Christianity.
thing.
Yeah, but Britain went a step further and made sure it was gone in other countries as well. They went around on a anti-slavery crusade, basically.
Didn't they lose money in total because of how much money they spent on going on their, as you said, anti-slavery crusade?
It's calculated that I believe that they lost more money trying to end slavery than they ever gained from slavery.
And also, we don't talk when we talk about slavery. It's only like, when do we talk about slavery outside of colonialist England and the U.S.? No, but like actually, it's like slavery is still happening.
Yeah.
It's still happening in Saudi Arabia. It's still happening in China.
You could also
And-
argue
and
like
the-
Dubai.
Yeah, and also Dubai, and the country with the longest history of slavery is South Korea.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen that video?
You see that
It's
clip, Bobby Lee.
hilarious.
It's like,
Yeah,
we've
but
never
it's
done
true.
anything bad.
Yeah.
No, but it's true.
Yeah.
Which is like, why don't we talk about that? Because like, I know that it was horrible things in the past, but they're in the past. There's not much you can do to fix the past. You can try and fix the future.
Future?
No, future. You can try and fix the future or the present, but what would you rather do? Would you try and fix the future a little bit, or would you try to fix the present a little bit, or would you try to fix the future a lot? And then ending slavery in other countries. What's better?
What are you looking at?
Oh.
It's rain.
No, yeah, you're the dung. It sounds like some like Zen garden.
Oh, yeah, I
But I
Yeah,
just
actually.
realized what it was. Because I thought, because I can hear your mic every now and then when you tap that with the cable, but it seems to be there's some like vent, and I think it's hitting like it's not a heat sink. It's some type of gittering or something to like
Gittering.
get. Oh, shit.
Gates? Gators? No, gators. No.
I mixed two words. I've mixed 3 words from 3 different languages. I apologize. Whatever. It's some type of like
Metal.
blocking thing to stop the little rats from
Maybe
like
it's-
literal rats to crawl in.
Time.
Yeah.
It's getting late.
Then we should end it, I suppose. It's a bit of an abrupt ending, but
Yeah, and we went over a lot. We went. Oh, that was
We-
basically
we-
just
yeah,
a long
we had
rant.
a
I liked it though.
long-
It was fine.
yeah, it was a fun conversation.
A long conversation and
I have something I
something.
kind of want to
It's,
talk about.
it's
next
kind of
time.
different from like the path it was gonna take, because we were gonna bring up a lot of things that should not have been brought up. Not necessarily because
fun.
it's bad, but just because it's not they didn't tie well together.
Yeah,
And
it's
we
fun.
jumped
It's
into
just a
this
rant.
with no plan, and it went pretty all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that is our speciality. Just
ranting.
talking.
It's more like it's not even just talking. It's thinking out loud and having someone else to play it off.
Yeah.
Like bounce it back to you, and then just talking and just thinking out loud about anything that comes to your mind, and just letting every single connection just be made. And that's what's really fun.
Yeah.
About these conversations.
Like that's fundamentally what this podcast is. It's just our conversations
Mhm.
made global. So,
And in English.
maybe you, the viewers, can gain something from this. Maybe
Because
not. but,
we've had these conversations a lot before, usually in school.
Yeah.
And we've we've probably had 100 of these conversations before.
I think if we count up the hours, like it's approaching like 500 hours, 1,000 hours. Like I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of our education, let's say we do university like 4 years, we have more than 1,000 hours total of just our, let's say, intellectual conversation. Although I don't really
Intellectual
like the word
conversation.
intellectual.
No.
Yeah, it really makes it sound like you're just
Obnoxious.
inflating your own ego.
Like if you listen, like
Okay,
obviously
I think
you do
I
listen.
think the better like thing to say is that we managed to keep a conversation going without having to resort to personal attacks and insults. We are able to reason with
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like,
Even though I would say like something I really liked about this camera, as shit as it is, there's a split. You see how both of you are red? I'm blue.
and you're blue.
I'm the good side.
Well, red is the better color. Well, actually, no, it's not. Like
It's
Nice
supposed to be an
orange.
orange, but I didn't. Whatever.
Yeah.
It is an orange, yeah, for
Mhm.
on that camera. But you know, the third camera is not that good.
I think we have extended this ending for too long now.
It's,
So
not, it's not too bad. I was gonna just like announce that what we're planning to do is
Oh, yeah.
actually having viewer interaction with this. Of course, it's not the first episode technically.
We
This is-
had an
this is the-
episode before where our cameras cut. It might be released on Spotify. We have thought. about
Oh god.
now
Or-
you said it or Patreon.
No.
Nah, that's
No, we
ambitious.
could al- we could also just release it without
We have
video.
no financial
back in.
incentive for this. We gain nothing. That
We have
Why
a
are you
huge
guys making
financial
this?
incentive.
we
You guys are
do have a
making this more
financial
difficult.
incentive. Come on.
It's fun.
we
It's
earn
mostly.
nothing from this episode. We are just having fun. But what I was gonna say, we are gonna have viewer interaction.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Both through there's gonna be a website where you guys
Can post questions.
where you can send in a question via a voice file or maybe a comment. Depends.
Although voice file would be better because
Yes,
then you actually have to
exactly.
commit to it.
We will most likely do some voice files on our website where you can just click record or drop in a file and it'll be sent in and we will take a listen and then address it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that's it for this episode. And next time we're going to try to improve the things we can and
Yeah.
see what people think of it and just try to have a damn good time.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Adieu.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo. Ay, ay, ay.
Nice. Det gikk jo kjempebra.
Ja, det her var jo veldig gøy. Vet du, jeg synes vi burde hatt med den siste når vi snakker norsk. Det hadde vært en kul ending. Det gikk jo kjempebra. Det var veldig kult.
Du kan fade det ut. Hvis du har lyst, så kan du fade det ut.
Men ikke at jeg skal gi deg mer arbeid.
Det fungerer. Vær forsiktig med mikrofonen nå.
Mer. Espen?